where we've just about recovered from a night of fireworks and fire and craziness. We were in the epicenter of the sporting world. I was sat there yesterday watching mixed doubles second round with my players, and Kawami was playing on one court, and it was going absolutely crazy. You then had the fireworks kicking off behind us with the football. Just a crazy place. And I was just thinking to myself, this is literally the epicenter of the sporting world right now. This is where everyone's eyes are. Very, very lucky to be a part of it. And a big welcome as well to Candy Reid. Thanks for joining us, Candy. How are you doing?
Hi, Dan. Very well, thanks. Well done to you today.
Well, to the players that I'm fortunate enough to coach, they played very, and I've heard very good things. My wife was just saying how good you were on commentary as well. So well done to you.
That's very nice. I was really impressed by Gabby. The first 2 points she played in the mixed doubles today was insane, and she got better. She was the best player on the court, and there were two men on there. She was phenomenal. Every time I watch Gabby Dabrowski, I think the same thing. I watched her when they won the bronze medal at the Paris Olympics. She played with Felix Auger-Aliassime. Best player on the court. Every time I see her. Well done to you, Dan.
Well, don't say that, because I wasn't at the Olympics. She's supposed to say at the Olympics she was terrible. She was underprepared. She didn't have her usual coach. Yeah, look, she's phenomenal. She's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And when she's in full flow like that,
so you need to take some credit. You need to take some credit.
Well, thank you. I'll take it. But it's very much a collaboration, and I think these things, sometimes it just works, right? Sometimes you just connect with somebody, you're on the same wavelength, and she was. Well, she's always a pleasure. But I got a message actually from Ian Barclay, my old coach. He's not known as my old coach. He's known as Pat Cash's old coach. So people won't know him as Dan Keenan's coach, but he was. And Barker's is now 87 years old. His mind is 22 years old, and he sent me. He's amazing. He's so supportive. He watches all of my players' matches at all the Grand Slams, and he said that's the best I've ever seen Gabby play. So he was mightily impressed. So that was, and Mike James has joined us as well. Look at Mike; he looks cold. Mike, he must be in England.
That's true. Yes, Birmingham, suffering.
The grass. It feels wrong. It feels wrong that the grass court season is kicking off when we're in the middle of, for me, and I don't know what you guys think, and this is my starting point tonight. And please, guys, anyone in the chat, get your questions in. Get your questions in for Mike, for Candy. What do you want to know from these brilliant people? Get any questions coming in. But it feels to me like this is just they're coming in soon. Is just a quite incredible Roland Garros. I don't remember it ever being this exciting.
Go for it, Mike.
Candy, do you want to start with me?
No, I think you should start, Mike, because you are a coach. I am not a coach.
Well, I mean, I think I need a new title, Mystic Mike. Is that possible? I'm not sure whether we can do that, or I can.
We've got Mystic Mike and Desperate Dan.
Well, pick her out immediately. Game's gone. No, I mean, look, I hate to say it, but my two picks are still in the tournament, and I did say Sinner wasn't going to win, and he had physical problems. That happened. I did say Hadar would still be in at this stage. That's happened. And Marta is still there. So right now, I'm feeling pretty smug, if I'm honest, guys.
So am I, to be clear. Potapova, and I also called the Sinner one. It's there. It's for everyone to hear. We've even clipped it up for social media just to make sure people know that we were right. The Heat was going to beat them, and it did.
Honestly, right now, I think what's going on is unprecedented. I mean, if you look at the I read something. Obviously, I'm the stats guy, right? But I read something around like 1968 was the last time this happened in the men's draw. I'm hoping that's not fake news. But we're in unprecedented territory in terms of like, now, Hodar is second favourite, Zverev is first favourite. They play each other next round. We have Fonseca set up against Casper Ruud.
Set and a break.
Turn that around. Is it set and a break? Okay. I mean, imagine this. Yesterday there were more 5-set matches than straight set matches. I mean, it's just. I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, this is a tournament. For a geek like me, this is a tournament to study, because Lander Luce, who Oracle Tennis is supporting, he lost in a final set tiebreak yesterday in 5 hours 58 minutes. I mean, it's
what
just
a guy!
Absolutely...
He's such a quality individual, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. But I mean, it's just like in the previous round, he was down 2 sets. He came back from 2 sets down. Round before that, he went 5 sets. And I just feel like everybody, apart from Zverev, are like, look at Mensik. He was carried up on a stretcher, in his second round match. I mean, all of these guys talk about, if we're running to win a Grand Slam is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So nearly everybody apart from Zverev has already ran their marathon, and they've got to go and run another marathon in the second week, whereas Zverev is he's chilling and he's just not even broken sweat yet. So that's where I'm not changing. I'm still going to stick with Rafa, but he's got way less miles in the tank, Sasha, than everybody else. So I would put him clear favourite because of that physicality side.
And it's something like the first time. It is, but it's the first time in a long, long time that there's not a former champion. I know we're talking about the men's side, and we will get to the women's, but the men's has grabbed us, I think, right? Ever since Sinner went, I've been saying it for weeks. It's boring. I'm sorry, I'm sick of it. I like you, Yannick, but it's boring. You're winning too much, and he's gone out, and the whole thing has just gone boom. And the interest is just absolutely flying left, right, and centre. And I think everyone's feeling it. But yeah, the first time in however long that there's not a former champion in the last 16 of a Grand Slam.
1968 was apparently what I read, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So there you go, and this is historical. That what we're seeing, Cerundolo, lefty. I'll call him lefty instead of righty. After his match yesterday, obviously he beat Yannick Sinner. The evening that he beat Yannick Sinner, I was walking in the Player Restaurant, and I swear down, he was sat there with one other person on this little table. Nobody was around him. It was just like, yep. And then last night, 5 hours 58, because my players, we were playing mixed doubles, and right next to that court, we could hear it all. And then Kiwami was kicking off, and then PSG were kicking off, and then it was all kicking off, right, all around us. And after 5 hours 58, he was just sat there, and I couldn't help myself. I had to go up and say, "Hey man, what an effort!" And he was eating the biggest bowl of pasta I've ever seen. And I said, you might need another one of those. Let me know. I'll go and get it for you. Just keep eating, my man. Keep eating. And it was just match after match. But I want to go back a couple of days, Candy, because
yes,
we haven't been on here. We were on here 3 nights ago with a live, so we've got a little bit of making up to do. And a couple of nights ago, I witnessed, and I think we all witnessed, but I was lucky enough to be in the stadium, sat right behind Team Fonseca with the Brazilians, Luisa and her team in Brazil. And I witnessed something that I have not witnessed for a long, long, long time. And I would say it's probably my second favorite experience in a stadium outside of a player that I coach myself, behind Andy Murray, Novak Djokovic 2012 semi-final Australian Open, which just I was there in Andy's box that night, and that was just mind-blowing for me. But I felt like the emotion of that evening, the history that we were witnessing, was probably Novak's last ever match at Roland Garros. Novak was incredible in that match. He was throwing up. Fonseca just went shot after shot. Every point was won. And for him to come out, and I was just watching the clock because Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic in 2012 was 4 hours, 54 minutes. And I swear to God, I reckon it was 4 hours, 53 and about 2 seconds. If they'd waited 2 more seconds to shake hands, it would have been 4 hours, 54 as well. Did we watch that night? 2 things. One, a new champion, a new superstar being born on the big stage. And 2, the greatest male tennis player of all time saying farewell to us in Roland Garros.
Well, I've said this before. I really wish that Novak had stopped after he won gold at the Paris 2024 Olympics. I just think him lying on Philippe Chatrier court in tears against Carlos Alcaraz after that wonderful final just would have been the most wonderful way for him to finish. But he's obviously chosen to continue. He is somebody who obviously believes so much in his ability that he was going to add. I think just the youth of today, the power, the pace, as Mike has said a few times, that the pace is just getting higher and higher and quicker and stronger and stronger. And I do believe that Novak probably has played his last Roland Garros. Whether he comes out, I mean, he's still able to win and beat a lot of these guys, isn't he? But whether he wants to go out and early in a Grand Slam before even making the second week, I don't know. Surely there's going to be a lot of pride at stake. Whether he can play enough tournaments in the run-up to the majors, that's another question, because of course he's not really getting that much prep, is he? And on the other question, I actually did Fonseca's match against Dino Prismic. So that was on court 14, 2 days before he beat Novak. That was the first time ever he'd come back from 2 sets to love down. Now, Prismic, I know a little bit because he played in the next gen at Jeddah at the end of last year, and he just seemed like a really quality individual. Prismic did not like the faster indoor court in Jeddah, so he didn't do particularly well, but you could see how good he was. Now, remember, Fonseca had won the next gen the year before, and that's when I'd met João for the first time. He went through that whole tournament undefeated, won over $500,000 for one tournament. And that was really the making of João Fonseca. We know all about him. He's had a few injuries. I think a few people have sort of found him out a little bit. So he's changed his game. He's added a little bit more variety, a little bit more height and spin rather than going full blast every time. But Fonseca is just so amazing because he brings the crowd with him, doesn't he? He's so exciting. There's this football-like atmosphere that follows him around. He seems to enjoy it. That was miraculous because I really thought after the Prismic win, I thought he won't have enough in his legs now to beat Novak, because Novak will have every trick in the book to take him out on the main Philippe Chatrier court. And when he went down 2 sets to love, I thought, well, I'm probably right. And then
but
I was.
Did you see the first game? Did you guys see the first game? Novak.
First game of the match.
First game of the match. Novak did 2 under 10 moon balls, like run of the mill rally ball, and he just went woo. And the first one he did, it was genius by Novak, because the first one he did, Fonseca took a big swing, trying to take it on the rise, and honestly missed by an Eiffel Tower over the baseline, right? Like so far, and you could just see from the word go, Novak was going to disrupt the rhythm. He was going to disrupt everything in that match, and the privilege of sitting there. One pretty much next to Fonseca's dad, he seems a lovely man. He was giving everyone hugs at the end. Everyone was in tears. Yes. The Brazilians were loving it. It was so special to be around, but it's going to be a long career. I mean, he was feeling every shot that was being hit. You know, they were chanting, Ja, and he was chanting, he was doing it all. But it really felt to me like Novak, I hadn't seen that up close for such a while. The way that he managed that 5th set up to a point was just unbelievable. Then he got his break and you thought, oh my God, how's that happened? This guy is just a genius at rhythm, time, variation, messing things up, controlling the time, controlling what's happening on the court, Mike.
Well, okay, I'll start with Novak. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough with being in Holger's team for 4 years to practice with Novak. Well, first of all, we played him 5 times. Secondly, we did maybe a dozen practices with him, so we got to know him and his team very well. And I have to disagree with Candy in terms of like, I think he's going to be back next year. And I think, his reality is not everybody else's reality. Like this guy wants to play the LA Olympics in 2028.
Yes, that's
Dan,
true.
with what you said, you're absolutely right. Look at what that Fonseca could be his son. And he's competing with the guy for nearly 5 hours physically. I actually think I looked at a bit of the press conference and I thought he wasn't upbeat, of course, but he wasn't totally downbeat. And I actually think his team, because they're very good at geeing him up and having really good conversations, I think they're going to go, let's look at Wimbledon here. We're right in the mix. If he can physically go on a clay court for playing no tennis to that level, that was worthy of a semi-final of a Grand Slam.
That was incredible.
So good. Yeah, it was so good that I think he's just going to be buoyed by that, and the way he thinks of being around him a little bit, the way he thinks, he'll just be going to Wimbledon now so confident and so positive, because he'll go, well, hang on a minute, the physicality is different. I'm not saying it's less or more, but it's different, and I think he will be super pumped about Wimbledon. So, the guy is changing sport. He's in this stratosphere of LeBron James and Ronaldo, of just competing.
Alan Shearer.
Boundaries. Okay, let's get Alan on the pod and see where he was at 39. Alan Shearer had been on Match of the Day for 10 years. So, going to Fonseca, do you know what? I give this kid a little bit of stick, like privately and publicly, in terms of like, I think he's been overrated. I think it's not been his fault. And he probably came of age in that match in terms of his level and what he can do. I still think for him, he's going to be one of those guys there's a big match player. Can he do that week in, week out to be top 10? At some point, I'm sure he can. I don't think it's still now.
If he beats Ruud, if he backs it up tonight, beating Ruud, I think we have to open our eyes to Fonseca's arriving.
I think it's hard to disagree with you there, right? Let's see. I don't think he'll beat Ruud, but fair play to the kid. He played an unbelievable match, 2 sets down. How many 19-year-olds would have, accepted defeat at that point of 2 sets down against the greatest of all time? How many times has that happened to Novak in his career before that match? Once. So against Jürgen Meltzer. So
understandable, Jürgen.
It's a trivia quiz for Jürgen Meltzer, bless him. But at the end of the day, it just hadn't happened. And I think, again, the top guys, they just, whatever's not been done, they just challenge themselves to do that. And I think Fonseca is in that mold. So fair play to the kid. He's looking good.
And Candy, go on, you go, Candy, you go.
Well, just quickly, he did say that he didn't believe during the Novak match that he could win. He just said he was having so much fun out there, and then he was serving bombs. He just felt like he was John Isner.
The last 3 serves, unbelievable. Serving for the match, 30-15 up, he got tight on 2 forehands. We need a great forehand to go 30-15 up. And then you thought, oh, God, here we go. And then the 3 aces were just out of this world. But we could talk about that match for 35 minutes. And I don't want to keep you guys long, or we're trying to keep these a little bit shorter. But over the last 3 days, we've had 18 men's matches, and there's still 2 on court. Rublev's about to go 2-1 down. He was 2-0 down. He's about to go bring it back to a 4th. Mensic's going to be feeling it. Don't be surprised if that goes to a 5th as well. But we've had 10 out of 18 5-setters of those out of those 18 matches. We've had a 5-hour 58, but then we've had like 4-hour 53, 4-hour 56, 4-hour 4. Like it's obscene what we've had. And we also then had like a 4-hour 40 match, which was 4 sets, which was Kawami yesterday against Tabilo, like the match after match. And I guess to give a shout out to some Berrettini, Berrettini's someone, Candy, that has kind of a bit gone missing, right? Wimbledon finalist, somebody that I think we all saw at the top of the game, not the best of the best of the best, but a top 10 player disappeared. They saw the emotion he had when he won his 15-13 in the fifth set. Then Analdi followed it. The Italian Analdi followed that later in the day. It just seems like it's match after match. And then Hodar today, 2 sets to love down against the elder uncle in Spain, in Carreno Busta, and you thought, well, surely Hodar's probably gone now. He's running out, and then he just rolls the next three sets. Give us a little shout out. Give us a few words on some of those players that we've mentioned, and why do you think we're seeing these incredible matches?
Well, I think they're all such good athletes. I think the clay, Mike can perhaps talk better than I can, but it's going to be so interesting this second week, isn't it? Because the first week, as we all know, was so incredibly hot. It got up to about 34 degrees outside temperature. So on the court, it's hotter than that. The balls were bouncing up, weren't they? The amount of matches, just maybe it's a momentum.
Tier 4, 2 sets to love down, came back at 1 and 5.
Yeah, came back to win again. Maybe it's one of those things, how if you're from Italy and then one player from Italy starts winning, more people from Italy start winning because they believe. And maybe it's one of those situations where we've seen so many come from behind that they're thinking, well, Zhao's done it twice. Tiafoe's thinking, well, I can do it. Just in the back of your head, you've got that extra belief because it's happening so much in this tournament. But maybe it's another reason that they're all just so incredibly good. And actually, it's such fine margins. When you look at the final numbers, there's a few points between them after 5.5 hours. And they're all such good competitors. And there's a lot of scoreboard pressure, because if you remember in our preview for Roland Garros, your podcast, once Alcaraz was out and then Sinner's gone out, now we're going to have a new champion. I think we're going to have a new champion on the women's side. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe anyone left is a Roland Garros former champion. Mike's nodding his head, so I think I got that one right. But there's going to be a lot of nerves now. There's going to be a lot of tightness. Can Zverev finish things off? So far, he's doing so, but will he be able to, in the real business end, once he's up a couple of sets, will he start thinking, I could win this? As soon as you get those thoughts, then everything changes. And so many players have been playing really loose from behind. Like we mentioned with Zhao, against Novak, he said, well, I didn't think I could win. So he just relaxed and let loose, and he's young and he doesn't have the scar tissue perhaps of the older player. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
I'm a research guy, and I'm sort of going to, after this tournament, really get into the nuts and bolts, because I think with what we've seen from week 1, I don't think anyone can guess of what we're going to see for week 2. And what I mean by that is, like I said at the beginning of the conversation, is these guys have racked up so many miles on the clock, apart from one guy in the men's. I don't know what Mensik, if he wins tonight, I don't know what they're doing with the guy in the recovery chamber. But I know Landaluce, for example, in between his matches, he, on his day off, he just wasn't practicing, just recovery, because he just couldn't practice because his body was dead. So he can't be the only one like that. And obviously he was at the tournament yesterday. So like you say, Dan, your TFOs, Mensik, all of them have just ran so much more than normal. And I've got to say, I've no idea why Marta today started 1 hour earlier with Iga. I don't understand why that happened when the temperature was 20 degrees. But that first week was brutal. The player I was working with, Linda Fruhvirtova, she had a blood pressure check. Blood pressure was low, ice pack out. You had so many, Hailey Baptiste doing the ACL. That's horrible. I'm so upset for her on this. Sommes in a double split her knee open from the back of the court. There's been so many injuries, with heat stroke, with falling over the tarpaulin. Blocks snapped his ankle in training against Fonseca. We've had this tournament is like a calamity of a mess when it comes to healthcare and injuries, and this can't continue. And our preview show, I got my high horse about the whole, healthcare and management of the top guys already not in the tournament. And then we start the tournament, and you've got Mensik on a stretcher, Block snapping his ankle, etc., etc.
Pavic, one of the top seeds in the doubles, had the same. We won the court next to him. John Bwan went over on the back. Yeah, did his ankle. Yeah.
Oh,
So, this is, I think we've got to be smart as a sport in terms of like, if the weather is in this scenario and we have 2 roofs, close the roofs. Okay, I know that's helping 12 players or 20 players who are playing that day. Start the matches earlier, start the matches later, whatever it takes. Like,
I
this is really
disagree.
serious
No,
stuff.
I don't. I disagree
Why?
with. I disagree with Chloe. I don't think there should be. This is what I
It's
would say on.
dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous.
Well, so if it's dangerous for one, it's dangerous for all. Would be what I would say. So it's
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but my point on this is, I think top players should get certain preferential treatments because they're carrying the tour. So Sabalenka, Sinner, Alcaraz, they've got their media commitments that's carrying the tour, right? So I understand preferential treatment on timings of practice, on things like that. However, preferential treatment on playing their matches undercover when the rest are out, the cattle are out getting burnt to death. I wouldn't
Okay.
say, like for me, no. If you're now into the quarterfinals and all quarterfinal matches are happening on the show courts that have got a roof, okay, fair. But if you've got players that are doing what they're doing outside in 40-degree heat, and you've then got Yannick Sinner playing in 20 degrees air conditioning, that's not a fair battle. This needs to be a fair battle, for me. And there's already discrepancies.
I take your point, but also this is not one of those unfair sports ever. Like, in terms of, like, say it's raining and the other guys are not playing matches and the guys that on the show courts are playing matches. So you've always got the preferential treatment all the way through, as being on the tour and being inside, in terms of locker rooms, practice courts, practice times, hitting partner. I mean, it goes on, transportation, it goes on and on and on and on. So I do agree with that, but I do think as a sport, whatever we can do in terms of, like, starting the matches earlier or later, that would help on all of the courts, right? But of course, it's like on Châteauroux with the roof, they just move the roof over a little bit, so there's a shade in the back of the court for whoever's playing, including Sinner, where they can actually get shade. Whereas if you're on the outside courts like Landaluce and where Linda was, I mean, there's zero shade. I mean, there's nowhere to hide from that. So I take your point, and I do agree with you on that, but I do think there's still money levels where we can do that as a sport to help the athletes, because there's so many guys getting injured right now. It's absolutely
the injuries, but I think there's a heat rule in place, right? And the heat rule, maybe they have to adapt the heat rule, but if the heat rule's not exceeded, then that is part of our sport. And let's take Yannick Sinner. Yannick Sinner's 1-8 in 5-set matches. He's clearly got an issue in the heat. In lots of ways, fantastic, because that's leveling the sport out a little bit. It's like that we found his kryptonite. Everyone's got to have a kryptonite. Mine's my forehand and my backhand and maybe my serve. But I've got a lot of kryptonites. But Yannick's got none. But the heat is one. And in the to win a major title. And look, it's the same. I work with doubles players. I'm telling you, to win a major title in doubles is unbelievably difficult. Like, the journey you go through over 2.5 weeks, like, because it's not just the physical battle of the matches, it's the mental strength. Even as a coach, I feel exhausted, like 7, 8, 9, 10 days in. You're doing these things, you're scouting, you're back in, your nervous system never switches off, but all of these things are what go into making our sport great. I agree with the health side of things. However, that has to be for all players, in my opinion. When it comes to health, that would be my kind of cut off. It's like, preferential treatment because they're doing these things. That's fine. Give them preferential times. Give them this. Like, I even have a bit of an issue that the top players get to play on the top courts for practice, and the players lower down don't. And then, like, let's take Ash at US Open. You then turn up, and the first time that someone 60 in the world's playing on Ash, you look up and you can't see the ball. There's lights flashing. There's all of these different things, and it's like, advantage Alcaraz, advantage Sabalenka, advantage. And I personally don't like that, but I do understand the preferential treatment for them in order to do their jobs as the carriers of the tour.
Can I say one quick thing, Dan? Just on the Yannick Sinner thing. This is interesting because I heard it, I think, on social media, but my son has red hair. And apparently people with red hair have this gene. It's the MC1R gene. And it leads to the red hair, but it also means that regardless of how fit you are, in certain heats, you just cannot, your body live with it. And I've seen that firsthand with my son. He cannot deal with the heat at all. And he's a 19-year-old. So I do think that's one of the reasons that Sinner does struggle. It's actually a genetic problem as opposed to a fitness or just a heat problem. I just thought I'd put you in.
You want preferential treatment for gingers.
Yes, and I want to get it. That's all I have to say.
Gene again? It sounds like what was the gene again? It's way above my pay grade, that gene. It sounds like a flight number that I took early this year.
It's the BA. No, it's the MC1R gene. And that is why there are redheads in the world. It's located on chromosome 16 and responsible for the production of melanin, the pigment that colors hair, skin, and eyes. There we go. I have a lot of redheads in my family.
This is control the controllables, listeners. You know, you're going. I mean, they're a good bunch, but I think we've gone. But I think it is interesting, Canny. It is interesting, but it doesn't mean you get preference. You're not saying that you get preferential treatment.
No, but I just wanted to put that out there because I'm a big Sinner fan, and he clearly should have won that match. He was up 5-1 in the third with 2 sets to love. And, he's getting some criticism that I've seen, and everybody gets criticism, which is bonkers. But I do think it's a genetic problem for his 5-set record, not actually because he's not fit enough.
The odds on him, if you'd have put a bet on Cerundolo at 5-1 in the third, it was 12,500 to 1.
Oh my gosh.
Which is bonkers.
Yes.
Because my team...
Luckily, we don't bet, Mike.
My team, Leicester City won the league, and it was 5,000 to 1. So get your head around that. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers that we lost that match. But again...
it was warming. Have you discussed that match, Dan, on here?
Say that again.
Have you discussed the Sinner Cerundolo match on here?
Yes, we spoke. I spoke about it with Freddie. We spoke about it with Freddie the other night. Now, in terms of a little live updates, actually, Rublev's now a breakup in the fourth. So Rublev is potentially moving into 5.
There's going to be a stretcher involved, ambulance,
Fonseca is 5-4 up in the second with Ruud serving. It feels like a big set, this set. But yeah, just not to pick up on something that you said, actually, it was about Fonseca's speech after the match. And what a delightful young man, by the way, as well. Like already, like he's winning us over as well. I think the way he speaks.
He's going to be my son-in-law. I think I've said that before on this. He will be my son-in-law.
He's a delight. But he did say about wasn't thinking about winning. He also wished his mum a happy birthday. I always think that's how you treat your parents. There's some players on the tour, Alexander Zverev, Tsitsipas. There's these players. I don't like it when you treat your parents like that. Treat your parents right. I think it says a lot about you as a person.
If my dad was worth 500 million, I might treat him a bit better as well. But
can I just quickly say, Dan, that I've met Zhao's parents. I spoke to them for about 30 minutes at the 2024 Next Gen Finals, and they are delightful. And Lovely. They told me they have 2 older boys. One is a runner, one loves everything board, so surfboarding, snowboarding, etc. And they said when Zhao was little, all he wanted to do was play sport, and he was the one pushing the tennis. That's what they told me. They said it was nothing to do with them. They weren't the normal tennis crazy parent. But he was the one pushing everything. And that never stopped. He never got to an age where he thought, I don't want to play anymore. It was just all from a little Zhao Fonseca. I think he's just one of those kids that's just extraordinary.
And when he came across like that, the one point I wanted to make on this is we talked about this in the preview. Marta Kostyuk's interview before the event, when she said she'd be happy if she loses first round. It's okay. She's not, that's not, she knows it's a possibility. Did you hear her interview on court today after she beat Iga? They said, are you happy? And she said, I would have been happy if I lost, because then I would have had another opportunity to go and get ready for the grass.
Mm-hmm.
The mindset shift is everything in this sport. Like, we can talk about forehands and backhands and serves and all the different things. But if you have the right mindset, if you are approaching it the right way, Iga Swiatek isn't. Her mindset. I mean, I watched that match and I had a bit of heartache, because Iga's very close to my heart, because Mike kindly brought Iga over to sort of Tennis Academy all those years ago, and it was so lovely to have her at the academy, and you end up kind of building that little kind of special bond there. But I saw two players on the court, forget forehands and backhands today. One that looked broken, one that looked like she's in complete turmoil, doesn't know, just in life, just doesn't know whether she's coming or going. And one that seems like she's in a space, she's in a headspace, she's moving forward. And big well done to everyone involved in Marta Kostyuk and the tennis, and Sandra, the coach, and I know Mike, you and the team that are supporting from that side as well. But she looks to me like a winner. She looks to me like she's someone that's going to be pushing and going to be a top 5 player in the world in the next few months.
Well, just going back to the mindset, I mean, I can share this sort of insight. We went for dinner, the team and some of Marta's friends a week ago, and it was the day of her second round match when she woke up in the morning and had a photo from her mum of the house next door to her mum and sister was totally obliterated. And she shared the photo in the press conference, and it's out there now. But she showed me the photo at dinner, and you just can't comprehend that that's going on with her mum and sister, in another country, while she's playing on the court and playing in front of thousands of people and doing what she's doing. So I think there's some sort of acceptance and sort of, she's looking at the reality, and what she said on the court today was the fact that what a beautiful day that she gets to play Iga on the centre court of the French Open. And I think she's taking it in the right way. She's so fortunate and lucky to be doing what she's doing compared to what's going on with her family in the Ukraine. And I think she's got the right mindset right now, and the tennis that she's playing is fantastic. I think tactically, if you're happy for me to share a little bit, I mean, Iga went for a high first serve percentage today on purpose, because Marta's stats on return is basically number 1 in the world right now on second serve return, 0.1. So they went for a high first serve percentage, but actually that didn't work for Iga, because Marta was making all the first returns anyway, and it was 50-50 at least. And then when Iga had a second serve, the pressure on Iga, then she could see that she felt that. She made more double faults than normal. And of course, when she put the ball in, Marta was totally in control. So that tactical side of things for Iga today didn't work. And you're right, Dan, in terms of her aura that she's giving off. And I mean, this was a 4-time champion today on the court. And actually, if you look at the body language and you have the sound off, which I did because I was at Edgbaston Priory Club, Marta looked like the 4-time champion today on the court. So again, the mentality of the sport underpins everything. And I think, I think Marta is definitely creeping into the top 10 very, very soon.
And on the women's side, Candy, just having a little look at the draw. We have had some humdingers of matches as well. Osaka Jovic yesterday, Keys and Mboko, they've been a little bit overshadowed with the 5-hour matches and the drama of the French players and, all of that. But we're getting business end a little bit now. Obviously, quarterfinal matchups in the bottom half. It's incredible, really. I mean, Mira Andreeva's kind of gone through without much fuss at all. But plays against the extremely hot on fire last year on tour Castilla. They play the winner of the two Ukrainians, Svitolina and Kostyuk. So what we're going to have a finalist out of one of those, and then in the top half, it's hard to see that Sabalenka doesn't come through this top half right now. I'm actually doing the Sabalenka Osaka match for BBC 5 Live tomorrow night, actually. So, Candy, I might be getting some tips from you on anything that's going on, or if you guys have got any insights that can make me sound a little bit intelligent, please do send it my way.
Well, you've got to talk about Osaka's Eiffel Tower outfit. I mean, that's the most important thing.
That's what we tend to talk. I get dragged into fashion all the time.
She's playing nicely, actually. I did one of her matches a couple of days ago, and she was playing well. I didn't do the Jovic match, but yeah, Naomi Osaka's looking much happier on court to me. She's looking more accepting of things. I'm not sure she has enough to beat Sabalenka. And again, the fact that the temperatures come down, maybe it's a chance to take out Sabalenka. Osaka's second serve is a little bit weak, I thought. She's been having trouble on her second serve, but she's been hitting her first serve really nicely. Nice for Madison Keys to do so well. I'm really interested in that all-Ukraine match. That could really be the final, couldn't it? Marta Kostyuk versus Elina Svitolina, who came from a set down today to beat Belinda Bencic. And that was a match where Ian Hughes has coached both players. He's now working with Belinda Bencic, was working with Elina Svitolina. So that was exciting. Svitolina 6-love in the third. I don't know if anyone watched that third set to tell me what on earth happened to Bencic. Did she go off the ball, or did Svitolina play brilliantly?
I didn't see it, but also shout out to Andrew Bettles. Two British coaches there, which is pretty cool.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really, really good. I think I picked Svitolina, didn't I, to win it? And I think I picked Sorana Castello as my dark horse when we began all this. I think so. I just wanted to mention that.
I think you did. And look, let's put our egos away here, Candy. Mike's already had his ego out. I also picked Sabalenka to win, and for Potapova as the dark horse, who are going to be the semi-finalists in the top half of the draw. So maybe we're just Freddie Nielsen. Freddie Nielsen's letting us down, isn't he? His picks.
Who did he go for?
I think he went for. He went Rebecca.
Yeah. And given how hot it was, Rebecca wasn't the worst choice, but she still doesn't move very well on clay. And I don't think she feels massively comfortable, a little like Clayomi Osaka didn't before, but is starting to move a little bit better. But it's hard to guess who's going to win it now. You've got to put probably Sabalenka and Svitolina as the big candidates, but then Marta Kostyuk's on a 14-match winning run, people. 14 matches and counting.
16, including Fed Cup on clay.
Ooh,
so it's exciting. And the fact you've got the Rome winner and Madrid winner facing off, both from the same country, both amazing stories for different reasons.
Yeah,
that's a cracking match, basically.
It's a shame they're meeting so early, though, isn't it? Given their form, they could.
That's quarterfinals. Come on, it's quarterfinals.
I think that would be great for a semi-final, right? That's a semi-final in the current scenario. That would be amazing.
Yeah, great.
But, I think
don't be surprised if Mira Andreeva comes out of that section.
She could well, if she believes it. And I think that's why she didn't play doubles, because Deanna Schneider did not play doubles with Mira Andreeva. Oh. And I was interested. I was looking at that and I was thinking, does she really feel like she just wants to go for the singles? And I think that's the discussion the Andreeva camp have had. We are going to go for this singles title and we think we can win it. So she is looking awfully confident and playing very well indeed, and not losing too much energy and going the distance.
Moving into the last couple of minutes, I do want to ask about Sabalenka Osaka. Mike, I want to throw it your way. It feels to me that's a good matchup for Osaka. It's not because of how good Sabalenka is, but in terms of game style. So like the other day, I commentated on Osaka playing against Siegmund. And to me, that was like the worst possible matchup for Osaka game style wise. Siegmund was just chucking a load of junk. slice, moon ball, taking a rhythm out, whereas she's a pure ball striker, Osaka, and Sabalenka's going to give her that ball to strike, right? It's going to be a striking battle. I know that Sabalenka is adding some variety to her game. I fully expect that Sabalenka wins that match, but it feels like it's a sort of matchup where we could get some proper kind of blockbusting hitting going on tomorrow night.
Well, if you remember, Osaka against Iga a few years ago was super close. She either had match points or served for the match or something. It was 7-6 in the third on Chatrier, and I think you could get a similar humdinger again. You're not going to be getting long, crafty rallies, but you're going to be getting explosive tennis. And I think Osaka, to have a former world number one Grand Slam champion, against Arena on a night match, and the fact is the first night match for females in 3 years, yes. I think says volumes for what the tournament thinks that match could be like. And I think that's going 3 sets in favour of Arena, but I think it's going to be, there's going to be some drama tomorrow night. There's not going to be a lot of long, crafted rallies with moon balls and slices and stuff like this, but I think we're going to get some clutch tennis where we're going to be seeing some shot making.
And my last comment I wanna bring up, a certain Mr. Vallejo. I don't know why we're giving this so much time, but we'll not give it too much. But he made some ridiculous comments, right? We're fighting hard for equality in sport, and it feels like we're maybe making some inroads. Certainly in tennis. I've always been quite proud of tennis the last few years. I think we're almost the leading sport in that. In terms of, and there's a long way to go. There's a long way to go still. And he's come off his match, and he's decided to not just blame the umpire for which is crazy, by the way. It's absolutely crazy. And I'll share a quick story. Yesterday, my boys were playing doubles, 7-6 up, 4-all, 15-all, serving really tight moment. And Evan King is, I'm not joking when I say he is 3 feet from the net, right? He's about a meter from the net. He hits a volley, and when he hits the volley hits the net cord and drops over, and the umpire calls touch.
Ooh.
And everyone was like, "What?" And she went, "Touch. You touched the net. Point to the opposition." No electronic line calls, no video review. Nothing you can do about it, right? And I've seen like, again, mixed doubles today. Gabby hit a great return, bang on the line, big point, and then the guy was under pressure. He would have knocked it up. Then Evan would have knocked the volley off. That was called out, overruled. It makes you think, why we don't have that at French Open. However, why I'm telling that story is the umpire that made that mistake was the same umpire that Vallejo had those comments about. Now, if you didn't hear the comments, he decided to make that about sex. He decided to make it that it was the umpire was not fit to do the job because she's a woman. Now, having seen
not sex,
yeah, gender. Gender's a better word. Gender's a better word. It's
that's a different podcast.
We'll edit that out when it's not live. But the issue with live. But I would tend to agree that this umpire maybe isn't up to it in terms of gender, not sex again. Is maybe in that position, being that far away from the net. However, to then start bringing gender into it just seems completely ridiculous. I know that Roland Garros have reacted rightly so, but come on, man, there's no need for comments like that in 2026. Surely, Candy.
Well, of course not. He has apologised. He has been fined, we believe, by the tournament. He was probably very frustrated, very upset. He was upset that Ana Carvalho, who's a very good Brazilian chair umpire, didn't control the fans. and I think he just let his emotions spill over. And let's go to say that we all make terrible mistakes in life, apart from me, but everyone else makes terrible mistakes in life, including me. And we'll give him the benefit of the doubt that it was just, he boiled over, too much frustration. It was an unbelievable match. What a final set tiebreaker. I mean, the whole thing was just crazy. He's made a terrible error. He's apologized for it. Let's just let it lie. The guy, just let's move on, because I think it's so easy to focus on these things. Silly things happen all the time. We're all guilty of something. It's so easy to criticize each other. Let's just let this one lie and say he apologized. There's no harm, no foul. It's done.
Well said. On to week 2. We move on. We'll be back in a couple of days. Mike Candy, Stars, thank you for your time. I'm Dan Kiernan. Until next time, we are Control the Controllables.